Alright guys, so tonight we're going to be talking about water and weather. We're going to have like a whole thing on weather, so you don't need to know all the logistics of it, but more specifically humidity, clouds, and precipitation. Alright, so you should be aware of the water cycle. We had a quiz on it, and again, don't forget about transpiration because that's not on there, but we have condensation, evaporation, precipitation, and of course runoff. You also have infiltration too. But the weather is affected by the amount of water in the air. Humidity is actually what we call water in the air, and this is the amount of water vapor that's in the air, what I just said. So basically this graph is telling you that the amount of vapor in the air, as it goes up, so does the temperature, which is kind of cool. So we have a lot of humidity in Georgia. You'll see like Miss Dudek's hair will start to get like all frizzy and stuff. That's because there's a lot of humidity in the air. Maybe your hair does that too, who knows. So we won't talk about relative humidity right now, nor that, so don't worry about that. All right, condensation, just a quick review. That's when the gas cools and becomes a liquid again. You can see that on the outside of your glasses and things like that. Dew point is what we're going to be talking about next week with clouds and things like that. This is where the temperature, where condensation occurs, so when those clouds start to form and things like that. All right, so when clouds form, little droplets are made into liquid water, and this is how they form. So you need moisture, cooling, and also particles. Now on your brochure, you need to fill in those 3 types of clouds, and this is what you need to write on it. So you might want to pause it at this slide right here. We've got cumulus clouds. They look like piles of cotton balls. These are probably the ones that you're more familiar with. Stratus clouds, and also cirrus clouds, which they kind of look very wispy and things like that. You also need to write these down. These are just a little bit more description of each. Cumulus, you need to write down it's puffy with a flat bottom. They form when warm air rises, and we could have showers with those. We could also have a cumulonimbus cloud, which you probably talked about in elementary school. Those are the ones with the thunderstorms. Cirrus clouds, those are the thin, wispy, feathery white clouds. They form at the top of the troposphere, so they are really, really high up, and they're very icy. And then the stratus cloud, these are smooth, flat layers. They blanket a large area of the sky, usually gray. And you don't need to write this one down, but they're called nimbostratus if they're precipitating. You can also have stratus clouds come down, so that way they're actually down with us. You might see this near a river and things like that in the morning. That is actually called fog. So fog is a type of cloud. So that's important for you to know. That'll be on your test to see if you know if fog is a type of cloud or not. And yes, it is a type of cloud. Other clouds that you don't need to know about are right there if you want to take a look at those. You don't really need to know where they're located, but you can look at this if you want to. It's kind of cool to see how big a cumulonimbus can be, which is this whole entire thunderstorm, which is cool. All right, we're not going to look at the websites. Precipitation. There are 5 types of precipitation, so this is why I wanted you to wait on your brochure to fill out that part too, because it's not 4, there's 5. You can have a rain, snow, sleet, hail, and also freezing rain. A lot of people like to, kind of put this in with sleet. It's not the same thing. All right, snow. So underneath your tree map, that little branch for snow, you need to write that is water vapor that changes directly into a solid really quickly. Snow was never rain, so that is a common misconception that people like to do. Hail are balls of ice that fall from thunderstorms. Each trip up and down is a layer. So this is kind of cool to see how hail forms. So it goes all the way like this. So every time it comes up and down, it gets bigger and bigger. So sometimes we'll see really big things of hail. That's because they've stayed in the cloud really, really long. And they'll come down like this. But if it's really small, it probably like dropped like maybe right there instead of doing all those extra things right there. So kind of cool. All right, sleeting or ice pellets, they form when rain falls through a thick layer of freezing rain. So it was rain, and then, it fell, and when it was in the air, it froze. Okay, so that's what sleet was. It froze before it hit the ground. Freezing rain freezes right when it hits the ground. Okay, so this is the one that's very slick. This is the one, during winter break or in February when we always get, those ice storms and things like that. Freezing rain is the thing that you want to be wary of, because this is the one that's very, very slick. All right, when we measure precipitation, we can use a rain gauge or even a ruler. So think about that too. About 78% of all precipitation falls over Earth's oceans. So why do you think that happens? We're going to talk about that on Monday. The largest hailstone ever recorded was in Bangladesh in 1986. It weighed over 1 kilogram, which is really big. And then Hawaii has an average rainfall of 12 meters a year. Atlanta only gets about 1.3 meters a year. So Hawaii gets a lot of rain. All right, just some jokes for you. Justin, you might like these. What is King's favorite kind of precipitation? Hail, because, hail to the king. Ha ha ha. Okay. What do you get when you cross a snowman with a vampire? Frostbite. Ha. Okay. And what do you call it when it rains chickens and ducks? Foul weather, because it's like not good weather. Okay, anyway. All right, we're not going to look at these, and you are all done. So make sure you get your brochure done and you turn that in on Monday. Have a great weekend.